Hey there everyone, welcome to Violet's Dream Tarot. So today we are going to be doing the 2023 predictions video, which I can't believe that we're already, when I'm filming this, it's New Year's Eve, so we're on the last day of the year already, but probably when I post it, we will just be into the new year. I just think that's crazy how quickly this year has gone. So as you can probably hear from my voice, I am quite unwell at the moment, and I really wanted to get this video done because I love New Year and I love the excitement and the energies and the possibilities that that brings, but I was really debating whether or not to make this video because I am coughing and sneezing a lot at the moment, and I'll probably end up doing that on camera, so I really do apologise if I'm coughing a lot and if that's distracting or just not nice to listen to. But I wanted to get this video out because it's been one of those lingering colds that I haven't really managed to shake off. I've had it for about a week now, and I'm not sure when I'm going to be well again, and I wanted to get this posted as close to the new year as I possibly could, so I've left it as long as I could, and I hope you guys are really going to enjoy this video. So before we get into looking at the piles more closely, I want to say a big thank you to all of my lovely patrons, including Alexandra, Amy, Alyssa, Alison, Mia, Cara, Kelly and Natalie. Thank you so much to all of you for all of your kindness and support. And thank you to all of my lovely subscribers as well, and thank you to you for being here, whether you're subscribed or not. So let's take a look at the two piles that we've got today. I've got some of my lovely little festive girls on them. You can see some more in the background. So on pile one, you have Puds. She's a little Christmas pudding girl. She has a little gingerbread man in her hand. She's really cute. And on pile two, you have Ginger. She is a gingerbread house girl. Both really, really sweet. So choose based on your intuition. You can just take a deep breath, pause the video if you need to, see which one you're being drawn towards more. I always say don't pick the one that you think is the cutest or the one that you just think is the most aesthetically pleasing or the one that you like the most. Choose with your intuition, because sometimes when we watch these pick a card readings, we can really be drawn to something, like say maybe someone's put our favourite crystal on a pile, but actually our mind is being drawn elsewhere. Like we can recognize, oh, that's my favorite crystal, so logically I should choose that one, but actually intuitively this other crystal is drawing my attention more. So choose based on that. Have fun with it, don't overthink it, go with your sort of gut instinct, your first choice. And when you're ready, I will start with pile number one. We're looking at all aspects of your life in 2023 here, so not just love, but also career, health, spirituality, goals, anything that comes up, we are interested in hearing about it. So take your time choosing, go back to the start of the video if you need to, and when you're ready I will start with pile number one, Puds. Hey there group one, welcome to your reading if you chose Puds, the little Christmas pudding girl and her little gingerbread man friend. This is going to be a reading. We'll just pop her up there. Move her forward a little bit so she can watch the reading with her friends and the lovely gnomes. So as you can see, I've pre-shuffled the cards and there's plenty to get through. I always pick lots of different decks because I really enjoy the intertextuality that brings. So let's start with your tarot here. We've got the Mystical Medleys tarot. So your first card is the Magician. Really nice start to your reading, lovely start to the new year. One is a new beginning, two of wands, that's excellent as well. The Hanged Man, and lovely Ace of Pentacles. So two wands or aces in your reading, which is quite nice. This year definitely seems to be full of new beginnings. The Hanged Man is interesting because that suggests that this year brings some sort of contemplation for you, some things to consider. You know, maybe you want to make some changes, but you're not quite sure how or what that's going to look like. The Two of Wands indicates that you are going to be expanding your horizons, broadening your mind, possibly traveling in the new year as well. He's holding the wand there. I'm also, in this particular deck, really drawn to the fact that you can't see this guy's face. It's just his hood. So there's like a mystery there. There's an element of, you know, who are you? Who am I? What lies beyond my current situation? So then you have trusting tricksters, number 6. The trickster's only power is your trust. You are always free to withdraw it. Interesting message, because also, you know, there's a sort of a trickster vibe from this person. Who is he? You know, do we trust him or not? Keep your temper. Number 20, don't allow anger to rule you. Okay, so with those two messages, maybe there's been a situation where you've given your trust to someone, and then with the 2 aces in the new year, it's like you want to either take that back or you want to reclaim your power in some way. Maybe someone has let you down. Karma, which I will read up on in a little moment. There's a couple of decks that I want to read into the guidebook a little bit for you. Kreative underverker, vul din lidenskab. So this means creative wonders. Follow your passion. That's a really lovely card. I love her dress. Follow your passion. But don't let it overwhelm you. You know, anger and passion are quite similar. Indecision, number 8, followed by hostilities, number 26. Definitely a situation, I think, where you've been disappointed by someone, or you've had a falling out with someone, you're not really sure how to move forward. Then I've got a couple of cards which indicate people that you'll meet in the new year, or people who are going to be very important to you in 2023. So the first card that came out from that deck was Martyr. Light attribute is learning the transcendent nature of service to oneself or a cause. Shadow attribute is addiction to self-pity. So whenever we pull these cards, you know, the person that we're talking about could represent the light attitude, the light attribute, or the shadow attribute, or it could be both. You know, a combination of both. It could be one person's light and shadow side. You might not know this person yet, so it's possible that, you know, you don't recognize the people that we're going to talk about in the reading, because they could be people that you meet in 2023. But if it sounds like someone you know, definitely take that on board, because they could be especially important to you in the coming year. So the next one is Knight. Light attributes loyalty, romance, and chivalry. Shadow attributes allegiance to a destructive ruler or principle, romantic delusions. Interesting that you've got a Knight, because you didn't get one in the tarot. Child eternal. Light attributes determination to remain young in body, mind, and spirit, ability to see things with fresh eyes. Shadow attributes inability to grow up and be responsible, extreme dependency on others for physical security. There's a little bit of like a Peter Pan energy with that card. Then you have the Coven Witch, number 20. And number 23, the North Witch. 65, der Götze des Herzenbruchs, the idol of heartbreak. There's definitely been some situation with a real upset with another person. Der stille Geist, number 12, the still or tranquil or calm spirit. Getting to know each other is a romance message for next year. As you reveal your innermost selves to each other, your bond deepens. And you got 2 cards from that deck. You actually got quite a lot of cards in this reading. As you can see, a lot of the decks have multiple cards when I only intended for one to come out. So there's a lot of messages for you in the year ahead. You deserve love. You are lovable. Answering the call. The time is now. Then you have your ice cream for the new year, which is pumpkin spice, harvest, prosperity, fortune. And then finally your little tea leaf reading cards. So these are love, big focus for 2023. Fly, a period of ill health, depression. Pale, time to get out of a situation. Barrel, you feel something is lacking in your life, perhaps love, money, or goals. And finally, Star, guaranteed success. So, lots going on here, lots to unpack. Let me just focus on the main issues that I'm seeing showing up for you. So the number one issue that's really jumping out at me is that there has been some kind of problem related to love. Now, for some of you, this might happen in 2023 itself, so this might still be in the future. For some of you, it might be something that you're dealing with as you exit 2022, and it feels like what that situation is a disappointment in love, where there has been a breakup, or where you have given your heart to someone and they have let you down, or where you have let someone know that you care about them and then they haven't been able to meet you with the same level of commitment or the same level of care and respect that you have shown to them. So going into 2023, I definitely get this feeling of like, love could be better. Love is an area I want to focus on. But there's also some hesitancy there because we have these messages about things like heartbreak and hostilities and trusting tricksters, you know, not wanting to give your trust to people who don't deserve it. It does make me feel like you're uncertain. And that's why you have this lovely card, You Deserve Love, which I think is a really important message and could even be like a mantra that you set for yourself in the year ahead, because I think it is important that you remember that. Also, this getting to know each other card. I like this because I think this is going to be your approach. As much as you are sort of cautious and wary, you are still interested in love for the coming year. So I feel like whatever you do, you're going to be taking things slowly with people. You don't want to rush into things. You want to give everything some time, new connections to see if you can trust the person, if you like the person, etc. So you might find that any relationship that you get into in the coming year, if you are single, is going to be one that starts out quite deliberately as friends. Even if you've met them with like a dating intention in mind, it feels like you want to keep things friendly at first to see how they are as a friend before you sort of give them, not permission necessarily, but before you sort of give them your trust to move things into a more romantic level. So that's quite interesting. You've also got this message about not letting anger control you and reminding you that you've got power here because, you know, people can only trick you as much as you let them. You know, there's a message here about, what was it? The trickster's power is your trust. You are free to withdraw it at any time. So yeah, it's like, I feel like there's anger coming from you because you're wondering, did I let this situation escalate for too long? You know, maybe with hindsight, you would rather have blocked this person sooner or moved on from this person sooner. And there's like anger towards yourself there. But I don't think you should dwell too much on it, because I feel like ultimately that's the sort of thing that could just be detrimental in the long term or leave you feeling paralyzed in some way. Then you've got this indecision message. And I feel like this is probably still to do with the same situation, just because I do pick up on this hesitancy from your energy. But then answering the call, the time is now, is really quite clearly telling you that in 2023, you've got this opportunity to make big changes and you shouldn't hold back. Also, this lovely guaranteed success message from the star. I love how this was the final card as well, because it sort of like leaves that final note on the reading. You know, you got all of these messages about feeling depressed or sad or low. You know, also with the fly, I think of something that's annoying that you want to sort of like get away from you. And I feel like there's an irritation with this situation for you. The time to get out of the situation, feeling like something's lacking, you know, all of that came after the love message. And then you got this lovely star message. So guaranteed success is really nice. And I see that reflected with the Magician and the Ace of Pentacles as well. And also in many ways, the Two of Wands, you know, because that's all about opening yourself up and knowing that there's some adventure out there to be had. So I said earlier on in the reading that I wanted to read a little bit of some guidebooks, and I just want to do that for two of the decks that we had here. So the first one was Karma from the Yogic Path Oracle. So the Karma card, I'll just find it here, says positive karma. You have done a lot of good on this planet and the universe is rewarding you in her favors. Life feels a little easier, a little more colorful, a little more beautiful. You are walking on the path towards your Dharma, which can create the greatest karma one can experience. By saying yes to the purpose of your soul, you are saying yes to the greater power of the universe. Continue devoting yourself to the service of spirit and life will continue to unfold its wonders. Interesting. So I like that that is actually next to this Creative Wonders card, Follow Your Passions. Feels like you're being guided in 2023 to do things that maybe in the moment don't make sense, or you're not sure if in the moment they're going to work out. And then they actually lead you down a very positive path. And that takes me back to this answering the call message. So I think starting out 2023, you know, whatever this disappointing love situation has been, I mean, we've got the word love very, very strongly. So I think for most of you, it is a situation where you've had that breakup or that disappointing dating experience, or someone sort of, you know, taking your love for granted. But possibly for some of you, it's not related to your romantic relationship. Maybe some of you have had a friend really let you down in this year, or that's something that sort of awaits in the coming year. I think that was a firework outside just then. But yeah, I feel like for most of you, it's a love situation. For some of you, it might be a friendship situation. But ultimately, you're moving on and trying new things. Let me look at the other guidebook that I wanted to see now. This is the Modern Wiccan Spellbook with the witch cards that I pulled earlier. So, number 20, the Coven Witch. The Coven Witch predicts a party or social gathering for you. Traditionally, a witch's coven consists of a group of 13, 6 men, 6 women, and a ringleader. You may be meeting authoritative people or find yourself being welcomed into a new circle of like-minded people. You will choose carefully before stepping into a situation or signing an agreement that may prove difficult to extricate yourself from. So, helpful people in the new year. And I think that's fits with the fact that you got 3 people cards here, because again, I was only intending like 1 or 2, but you ended up with 3, which does suggest there's a lot of different people around you in this coming year, and there is quite a helpful vibe from them. Knights, I always think of them as being helpful, and you know, in stories they often rescue people, but I think of them as being someone who can help. Martyr is all about service, whether negative or positive. And then the Child Eternal, to me, is like someone who can offer you a fresh perspective on things, and is quite inspiring as well, because it's sort of pointing me perspective-wise towards that creative wonders card and following your passion. I feel like I want to talk about this card as well, so as not to forget it. The Calm Spirit is how I will translate it, because still can be translated quite a few different ways in German, but the Calm Spirit makes me think that before you indulge in this socializing and, you know, getting to know people romantically, there is a period of you just getting back your equilibrium in 2023. So if you've already had the difficult experience with the romantic partner or the friend, whoever this disappointing person is for you, then I think this is something that you're doing in the early sort of 3 months maybe of 2023. If that is an experience that's still yet to come for you, then I envisage this happening later in the year, maybe more towards like the middle to around September time, because you've got to allow time for all of this other stuff to happen. So then let's look at the North Witch card. Number 23. The North Witch reminds us that if we orient ourselves to the north, sunless in its essence. The north is the dark side of every situation. The darkest phase is like an undrinkable frozen cup of happiness. The positive consolation is hibernation and energy conservation. Patience in every situation is your virtue. So that does sort of fit with this Calm Spirit message. You know, the North Witch is saying, you know, there's some difficult things to deal with, but you're dealing with it patiently, calmly, with dignity, knowing that it will pass. You know, winter is a lot of people's least favorite season, and yet everyone knows that eventually it will pass. This period of time, however difficult it might be for you, will not last forever. And ultimately there will be new people, there will be celebrations, there will be happiness and success again, there will be love again. Whatever it is that you've been dealing with this disappointing person, whether it's friendship or loyalty or just love and romance more generally, will come back to you again. It just takes time to digest whatever has happened, get back to your equilibrium, move beyond feelings of anger or upset, and feel happy again. But I just want to draw your attention again to this lovely guaranteed success card. So really interesting cards. Clearly there's a lot going on in 2023, but we're not done yet. We're going to get your charms and dice on top now to see what they can tell us. So what have we got here? So we've got the chair, the house, household situations. Maybe you're moving house or you're redecorating in some way. Maybe someone's coming to live with you or someone's moving out. The house is on your mind for some reason in 2023. On the love card, you've got the skeleton. So this makes me think like skeletons in the closet. So with it landing on the love card, it's making me feel like there are things that you're ashamed of with regards to love that sort of hold you back from pursuing it in 2023. And that's why I'm saying it seems like there's this time of peacefulness and sort of getting back that sense of I'm okay, I'm grounded, you know, this is where I am, this is my baseline before starting again. It feels like you just need that time for things to settle, and to sit with the indecision and, you know, the difficult feelings, and have that patience for the main feelings to blow over, and then you can get sort of back on the horse, so to speak. You have the baby boy here. So for some of you, there might be a birth or conception in 2023. This charm also points towards immaturity. So someone could be acting immaturely. There may also be a new baby in your family or in your social circle. You've got Saturn here, which is interesting because that's definitely connected to karma. Also hard work and discipline. I think landing on the anger card is saying sort of working with your self-discipline in that respect, because I really get this feeling of like dignity from your reading and from your energy. So it's like there are lots of things you could say or do, you know, to react to the way that you've been treated, or to let this disappointing person know, as I keep referring to them, how they've made you feel, or how you think they should have acted, or what they should have said or done. But it feels like the best way forward is this dignity and this patience and sort of rising above it. So that obviously takes a lot of discipline and willpower. But I think if you do that, you'll thank yourself for it in the long run. Then you have this Converse trainer walking in someone else's shoes. That's an interesting one. I'm wondering if maybe one of these people is confiding in you, or you're sharing your stories with someone, because I don't think it's saying see the situation from the other person's perspective necessarily, because I think given what I can see in the cards, it feels like that person has behaved badly towards you. Maybe there is some need to, you know, see things from their side, but I think ultimately they do seem in the wrong, even if you are also, you know, so it's not a case of, oh, it was just a bad day for them sort of thing. But it feels like maybe there's some sharing of stories, or there's some support or guidance from other people that's sort of helping you get through the situation a little bit. You've got the winter charm here with the Christmas tree, winter being an important time. It's interesting because you've got the North Witch. You have the lovely treasure map charm, which means that you will find what you seek. And I love how it's on the staircase of that card, all about following your passions. So you will find what it is that you're looking for, even if you're not quite sure what that is yet, as you go into the new year. So that's really, really positive. Then you have the good friend charm. So there is a good friend for you in 2023. Again, maybe someone that you haven't quite met yet. So if you're sitting there shaking your head going, no, all my friends have deserted me, then I think it's probably someone that either you didn't consider a friend previously, or someone whom you meet in 2023, or maybe someone that you've sort of underestimated or fallen out of touch with, and you have some kind of reconciliation in the new year and strengthen that friendship between the two of you. Your final charm is from the astrology dice, and it's number 5. So this could mean lots of things. Okay, it could be pointing to the 5th sign, Leo. It could be the 5th month, May, or the 5th of a month, so like the 5th of January, 5th of February, etc., as being an important date. However, what I see most of all with these numbers dice is the houses in astrology. So the 5th house is about friendship and having fun. Friendship in its kind of loosest sense, because there are other there are other astrological houses that refer to friendships more specifically, but the 5th house is having fun, sort of fair weather friends, you know, things that make you laugh, things that allow you to relax. It's also children, going back to that little boy card charm. Don't know why I'm calling everything a card today. So that seems to be a focus for 2023 as well, having more fun, letting your hair down a little bit, giving yourself permission to relax. Maybe you're someone who really likes working, given that you've got Saturn there, and this is a message about 2023 being less of a work-focused year, or less of a year where you're feeling like a workaholic and you're just instead allowing yourself to kick back a bit. So let's look at your dice to finish up your reading, Group 1. Okay, so we're going to roll the 10th set of dice, the Scooby-Doo dice. And we're rolling 2 of them for you. Okay, nice. So firstly, you have this sort of locked door, or this big, it's like a castle door, you know, all the creepy places that Scooby-Doo and his friends go to in the TV show. So this is sort of making me think, you know, given that it's landed on the guaranteed success card as well, that you kind of feel as though whatever the situation is that's getting you down, it can't improve. Or if there are areas of your life that you're dissatisfied with as you go into the new year, it's sort of like you can't possibly see how that could improve, because you can't envisage a way that it could get better. You know, your imagination just isn't doing it for you. And that's fine. But I just am going to say that I think in this year you'll be pleasantly surprised, Group 1, by some of the solutions and some of the improvements that do come to those areas of your life where you're dissatisfied, or some of the situations in your life that feel like they are blocked or stuck or at like a kind of stalemate situation. Just because you are currently incapable of envisaging how this could change or improve, there might even be a particular situation that's coming to your mind now as I'm saying this, and you're also sort of thinking, it's never going to improve, it's never going to change. I would just say don't say never, because I think this year could really, really surprise you with some of the solutions and improvements that it brings. You know, creative wonders was the word here, not just like creative works or creative achievements, but creative wonders. You know, underverker in Danish also means miracles. So definitely some things that you really are not expecting, but are very, very positive in nature coming your way in this year. And I think the fact that there's nothing necessarily specified is nice, because it has a little bit of a surprise element to it. Like, you know, you're not supposed to know everything just yet, but it's positive and you'll love it, trust me. That's the vibe that I'm getting from the reading. And then your other dice is Shaggy. And I think this is so nice because I think it fits nicely with this charm about the good friend. Shaggy is a very loyal friend, and he does things even when he's, you know, completely terrified and again can't possibly envisage how he can do something, but to save Scooby, for example, he absolutely would. He put all of his fears and terrors and, you know, dislike of something to one side in order to be there for his friend. And I think in 2023, whether you know them yet or not, Group 1, you are going to have just such a true friend. And that is really one of life's greatest treasures that you really should cherish and value and be grateful for in the coming year. So I hope you've enjoyed this reading, Group 1. It's a really lovely message. I appreciate that there are also some difficulties here that you maybe weren't hoping to hear about if you haven't experienced them already. But I hope if this is something that you have gone through, or even if you haven't, you're at least encouraged by the fact that this is going to resolve itself, it's going to improve, you're going to feel better in the coming year about this situation. You will be able to work through it, there will be new supportive people around you, and there will be these miracle solutions or this incredible success that happens without you even possibly thinking it's possible. So I hope that's very comforting and encouraging for you, Group 1. Aim for the stars with your goals and your resolutions this year. Have a lovely new year, a wonderful start to the year ahead, and take care, and I will see you again soon. Bye bye. Hello and welcome to your reading if you chose Group 2 with Ginger, the little gingerbread girl. Just going to put her there so she can watch the reading unfold with her friends and the little gnomes. So as you can see, I have pre-shuffled the cards. There's a lot to get through. We've got the charms and dice as well, as we always do, so I'm just going to jump straight into it. So Group 2, let's start with your tarot. What is coming up for you in 2023? So we have the Seven of Pentacles, followed by the Three of Wands. Lovely card, I really like that card. And then the Emperor, so Aries energy. Interesting. Definitely get a very specific vibe from those cards. Get the feeling that 2023 is going to be a period of like trying hard to achieve something. Like you get this feeling of waiting, of pushing, of really being like, this is what I want, and you know, I've got to wait for other things to come together, or I've got to work at it for quite some time. And then there's this feeling of like, yes, I am getting there, I am doing it. And the Emperor is this feeling of real achievement and being in control of things. So I do see you achieving whatever you're trying to bring about. Group 2, the Three of Wands also makes me wonder if there's some significant travel for you in this year. Maybe a special holiday, or going to visit people that you haven't seen for a long time. Let's go through your oracle cards. So number 10, assistance with access. It is necessary to ask for and accept help in order to receive it. That's an interesting message. So the Seven of Pentacles, in fact, indeed, all of these cards from the tarot, they're all very solitary, if you can notice, but especially the Seven of Pentacles. Look how hard he's been working, and it really doesn't look like he's asked anyone for any help. So that's a message, especially if you are someone who doesn't like to ask for help. Maybe 2023, a resolution could be to ask for help more, or to let people at least know that you're like at capacity, you're struggling with things, so that they don't try and pile more things on top of you. That applies for work and, you know, family and your social circle. Number 41, forget who you are. Conditioning falls away. Memory no longer defines you. So a real sense of like change in 2023, like you are blossoming or you are changing as a person. You no longer recognize who you were, maybe even just a few years ago. That's a really powerful card. Maybe fits with the Three of Wands and the Emperor. You know, this feeling of like expansion and travel and growth, and then being in control and achieving something. You have Tejas. And there's a couple of cards that I'll look in the guidebook for after we've gotten them all out, so we can just get that little bit of extra information. Konkurrence, oppelmål og selvtillit. And that means competition, muster up courage and self-confidence. Definitely get that vibe of like working hard to prove yourself with the Seven of Pentacles, or working hard to show that this is what I want, you know? So competition. Then you have anxiety, number 18. Person that you will be meeting in 2023, or a person who will be important in some way, is monk/nun. Light attribute, selfless devotion and single-minded dedication to spirit. Shadow attributes, negative judgment of the physical world. Excess piety. So someone who's very spiritual and maybe who can act as a guide or mentor. but who might be a little bit holier than thou. When we get these cards, the person could be the light attribute or the shadow attribute, or they could be a bit of both, you know, that could represent one person's light and shadow side. If you're sort of looking at this thinking, I have no idea who that person is, that's fine. It might be someone completely new who you meet in 2023. But if there is someone that you recognize that seems to fit that archetype, then that may be someone who's going to be quite important for you in 2023. So let's keep going with your cards. You have number 10, the Old Hag Witch, followed by number 11, the Wickedest Witch. Interesting. Then you have number 37, Unschuld, innocence, blamelessness. Number 72, Der Götze des Schmerzes, the idol of pain. Then you have, for your love messages, unrequited love, there's not enough attraction or chemistry to keep this relationship going. And reconciliation, someone from your past is returning to your life. Interesting messages there. Then you've got impasse, reflect and redirect your energy, this cute little squirrel looking at the stone wall. Followed by unknown territory, you are exactly where you need to be. Interesting. Your ice cream for the year ahead is cookies and cream, guilty pleasures, indulgence, temptation. It's interesting how guilty pleasures is landing just beneath this innocence card. Maybe you're sort of needing to give yourself permission for things in 2023 that you wouldn't normally. Like there's an element there, I think, of letting things go, not being quite so uptight, giving yourself permission to relax and unwind. And then your final cards are Crown, honor and respect will come to you. Dog barking, advice from a friend. The month of May. Interesting. Cobweb, protected from negative forces beyond your control. And finally, Yoke, feeling tied down or frustrated. I definitely see how that one relates to the Seven of Pentacles card, and to some extent the Idol of Pain and the Anxiety card. So what I'm seeing just in general for your year ahead, before we go into more detail with guidebooks and charms and dice and things, is that there is something that you're definitely working towards where you're really putting a lot of effort into it. So it could be that you're trying to achieve some kind of goal. It could be that you're putting in a lot of effort at work. It could be that you're trying really hard to find the right person relationship-wise, or to make new friends, for example. But I just see that you're putting in a lot of effort into this thing. And I do see you succeeding at it. However, I definitely see there are issues that are causing this frustration, this worry, this anxiety. The fact that you've got anxiety next to the competition card, which is then also in close proximity to this Idol of Pain card, does make me feel that you're perhaps being quite harsh on yourself in 2023. Maybe, for example, you've just started a new job and you worry that people think that you're not doing very well, so you've got to work extra hard to prove yourself because you're new, and then actually people do think you're doing fine, but now you're really, going all out and stretching yourself. So there's that message about needing to indulge a bit more, cut yourself some slack. There's also this message about asking for help or letting people know when you are struggling or when you're reaching your limits. I like the message about being protected from harm, protected from negative forces beyond your control. I think that's really comforting, especially if you do suffer with anxiety, because I'm always struck by this card about how she's lying in bed, or rather sitting up in bed. It's kind of like the Nine of Swords image. So it does make me think when we get this card that there could be issues with sleep. So especially if you're laid awake at night worrying that you're being psychically attacked, or worried that, people are sending you negative vibes or something, I think that actually you are being strongly protected, and that would be a good thing to remind yourself of to help relieve some of that anxiety. Also, there seems to be, I think, some anxiety around this impasse situation and unknown territory. There's maybe a little bit of a feeling of, I'm not sure about my path. We've got this guy looking out at the horizon, this person walking forward into the light, but, where are they actually going? We can't see very far ahead of us on that path. So I think there's a worry of, am I making the right choices in life? Am I with the right person? Am I in the right job? Am I living in the right country or city. You know, these big questions that you're asking yourself, but actually I really like this message of you are exactly where you need to be. Even if you feel like things have ground to a halt or you've come to a standstill. I also always like how I see this card and the little squirrel is sitting there, and yes, the path leads to a brick wall, but there's this tree that is leaning over the wall that could be climbed over. So it seems to suggest that some creative thinking and some thinking outside of the box and some daring could get you out of that sort of difficult situation. So then we have this message about unrequited love, reconciliation. So I think for those of you in a relationship, there could be an issue where the relationship becomes a bit strained in the next year. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to break up, but I just feel like, you know, someone's pulling away. It could be that because you're trying so hard at something else, you're not making time for the relationship, or you're just getting stressed, and that puts distance between you and your partner. You know, this message of needing to ask for help. Tell your partner that you're struggling, let them in, might not be getting through to you at first. So I think for those of you in relationships, there's some strain, and then there's a coming back together and, you know, realizing what you need to do differently going forward, which is really, really lovely. For those of you who aren't in relationships, I think I can read this one of two ways. So firstly, you could be confronted with someone that you've previously had feelings for but never acted upon. And so a second opportunity comes to you to see this person in 2023, or maybe you're just reminded of them in some way. And that could be positive or negative. You know, strong feelings usually come up, but they don't always go the way that we expect them to. They sometimes surprise us, the strong emotions in these situations. For some of you, it is a situation where you've maybe loved someone in the past, it hasn't been requited, or you're currently feeling that way, but for some reason your relationship is able to improve. Maybe you do get into a relationship with them romantically, or maybe you're able to sort of part ways positively without harsh feelings. Maybe you're able to agree to be friends, and that's genuinely something that you're okay with, because when we get the reconciliation card, it is very serene. So there is definitely a feeling of like, okay, you know, I'm fine with this. This is all right. I'm also struck by the monk nun and then the innocence card. You know, maybe you're feeling like very spiritual in this year, and that sometimes puts you off romance a little bit. Even if you're in a relationship, that could be an issue that also causes some distance for a while. I think for some of you as well, the unrequited love, reconciliation, it might not necessarily be a romantic thing, especially if you're not in a relationship. You know, it could be a situation where a friend has let you down, or it seemed like you were more of a friend to them than they were to you, and then in 2023 you're able to, you know, put that behind you and move on, because it's very close to this card, advice from a friend. So maybe letting someone back in that previously disappointed you and giving them that second chance, but not necessarily in the romantic sense. May seems to be important for some reason, although it's not clear exactly why. Might be different for different people. And that's my general overview. So I'm going to look now in more detail at this card, Tejas, and these two witch cards. I'm going to read from the guidebook for you, just to get a closer understanding of what those cards mean. So, okay, Tejas. This card says, your intellect and courage glistens in your eyes. You have a radiant glow to you that reflects your passion within. You are on this planet for a reason and are deeply committed to your higher purpose. You carry a spark of energy that uplifts those around you and are a natural born leader. As a warrior of love, you are committed to raising the vibration of this planet, even if it sparks controversy. By being your highest self and committing to your truth, you encourage others to do the same. Continue sharing your spark with others who have lost theirs. That is very lovely, very kind. I'm wondering actually if you sort of also embody this monk nun vibe a little bit, like you're helping people, you're guiding people. You're someone who's very spiritual and helps people onto the right path when they're struggling. The old hag witch reveals that someone fair of face is inwardly twisted and gnarled. Unable to give unconditionally, her true self, sentiments and soul are exposed. Being strong inwardly, you can see through a facade and are able to forgive a troublesome person's intentional or unintentional hurtful actions. But forgiveness can only go so far before you must point out to her the damage she is doing to her friends and herself. So that's an interesting one, because like I said, I did feel that maybe some of you have fallen out with a friend and there's an opportunity for reconciliation in the new year. That is really interesting that it was talking about friendships sort of being tested there, and then you've got to point it out and see how that goes down. The wickedest witch reveals that jealousy may create havoc. Being aware, you can easily diffuse and counteract the situation through your own alertness and innate goodness. People you find at the core of a new circle and environment will help you. Others will offer their spontaneous support. Because you never lose touch with your essential nature, you will always be a winner. So I would say very nice that this is shown up next to the Innocence card, because it's saying to me you might have to battle with jealousy of some kind in 2023. Maybe these two things are linked. I'm talking about the same situation, maybe they're not. Some of you might be dealing with a previously good friend who ends up being quite envious or jealous of you in 2023, and that's something you've got to deal with. Maybe that causes your anxiety, or is where the competition vibe is coming from a little bit. You know, maybe you've put up with it for too long with the Seven of Pentacles card and you just need to move on from it because it's leaving you feeling frustrated. If you are worried about jealousy, you have that lovely message about being protected from negative forces. So as far as evil eye and things like that go, I do think that you are well protected, but I understand your worry in that case. Feels like, you know, you're going to have to tell someone, hey, what have I actually done? Or you need to stop acting like this because we're going to fall out otherwise. Like, I feel there's a need to be assertive here because you are innocent in this situation. You have done nothing wrong. Maybe it's a colleague, for example, who sees you doing well, or who sees you getting a new job and moving on with your life, and they're stuck at the same old place, and it's hard to be friends with them after that because they're so jealous, you know? Have a think about what that could mean for you going forward, just so that you're prepared in case that does happen. However, it could be two separate situations. So like I said, jealousy at work, jealousy in your social circle, but also this friend who seems to let you down or seems to be nasty in some way, and you just need to really let them know how that's making you feel, because they may not be aware. It feels like you need to nip that in the bud if you can. That's behavior that's spiraling, and you know, it can only go so far for you to continue to put up with it. So there's that honor and respect message. Honor and respect will come to you. I think that's also nice in terms of a career situation, possible promotion in 2023, or a really good yearly review, or whatever it is that your work does in terms of evaluating how you've done that year. Maybe there's a good bonus coming your way, or some really nice praise, or getting that great new job that you wanted. Something along those lines. But I see you being very successful in this year. There's just a lot of doubt, and there's, you know, worry about things, but ultimately you're innocent, you're hardworking, you're in control, and you're going to come out on top, group 2. So let's look at your charms and dice. We'll start with your charms. So you've got the spider's web, feeling stuck, feeling blocked, feeling like you want to move on from something but you're not sure how. Then you have the Wheel of Fortune, the ship's wheel, moving in a different direction. The tide is turning in your favor. You've got a guardian angel here, which is really, really lovely. So there's that protection that we just mentioned, this protection from negativity beyond your control. Dory, just keep swimming. Push through the difficulty and you'll get through to the other side. Even if, like we've mentioned with this not being able to see the path message in your reading, you can't quite see where you're headed. It's like, just keep putting one foot in front of the other and you will get there. I know that it sounds cliched and like, how could that possibly be true? But honestly, I do think that as long as you don't give up in 2023, you will get through to the other side, you will make it, and you'll just be like, you know, that sigh of relief that you've gotten past that difficult situation. What else have we got from your charms? We've got the older woman, which is interesting because that is landing on the Wickedest Witch card. So it seems like there is an older woman who is jealous of you in some way. It doesn't have to be much older. You know, it could be just someone who's a year older than you in your friendship group, or someone maybe more experienced than you. So maybe you've got a colleague who isn't actually older than you, but they've been at the company for longer, and then they get jealous that you're doing really well, or you've got a new job or something, and you know, it's difficult to keep that friendship with them, perhaps, or it's something that you've got to address or move on from. Then you have Saturn, which group 1 got as well. It's a very karmic planet. Saturn is all about discipline, hard work, which it seems like you're very capable of. You know, 7 of Pentacles, you certainly don't seem to be someone who shies away from hard work. Boundaries and limitations, those all seem to be on your mind in 2023. How can I push forward without, you know, breaking myself? How can I set boundaries? How can I continue to be this ambitious person and get what I want from life? All of those seem to be on your mind. And then you have the Celtic Pig of Abundance. So this forms a zodiac marker for anyone born in the lunar year of the pig. But it is also symbolic of abundance, having everything you need and more, being well provided for, especially in that very material way. So definitely there could be increased finances in this year, or just having everything you need in terms of lifestyle, not needing to worry about how you're going to pay the bills or how you're going to feed yourself, for example. You've got everything you need and more. Let's look at your dice. Okay, so we're rolling the 9th set of dice for you. Those are the Astro dice. And we're rolling 4 of them for you. So what have we got here? Understandable. Okay. Yeah. So we've got the person who is like brain fried. It looks like they're taking part in some kind of experiment. When I get this dice, I always think about being really like having so many thoughts that you just can't even think anymore, feeling really overwhelmed mentally, not knowing what to think, you know, a situation being extremely unexpected or confusing, or both all at the same time. Now this is landing on the reconciliation card, so it could be that there is some confusion or just some exasperation or difficulty in understanding the situation with this person. I think it's almost like incredulity at how this situation could ever have happened to begin with, how it could have got this far, how it could have happened like this, you know, if there's been a difficult point in your relationship, or if you've fallen out with a really long-term friend, it's like, how could this have happened, you know? And then when it comes to the reconciliation, you're still shaking your head at the fact that this ever occurred to begin with. So definitely some confusion going on there. Then you have this big explosion charm. I don't know how well you can see it, but it's like smoke rising up out of the ground, like there's just been a big detonation. So to me, that's like big change, radical change. It's almost like the Tower, but it's more deliberate than that. When I see the Tower, I'm always struck by how it's change that we can't control, change that we haven't chosen. Whereas for a bomb to go off, someone has chosen that. You know, that's a deliberate action. So big change, whether chosen by you or not, I would say is going to happen in 2023. It feels like, going back to this forget who you are card, like unrecognizable change. So something, whether it's your personality, your appearance, for example, maybe you really change your wardrobe, your hair, like everything, how you do your makeup and stuff, whether it's where you're living, the type of job you're doing, the lifestyle you've got. It feels like, whoa, this is so different to how it was before. The sort of people that you spend time with, for example, like it's so different to how it was a few years ago. You've got the little monster dice here. So maybe someone's making you out to be a bad person or trying to imply that you're being wrong in this situation. But given that we've got this landing on the innocence card and sort of also on the jealousy card, makes me think that you are definitely in the right here, which is really nice. Hold your head up high in this situation and don't be bullied. Don't let someone make you believe that you are actually in the wrong or behaving badly when you're not. And finally, we've got the no people sign. Feels like there is real boundaries that you're laying down with a particular person. You know, like don't do this anymore. Don't cross that line, because if you do, I'll have to cut you out of my life, sort of thing. It feels like a big ultimatum. Could also be that you're just disengaging from some friendships, some relationships you're leaving behind. Maybe you're just looking for a more quiet life in 2023. You know, maybe you used to be always going out and socializing, and this forget who you are card is saying, actually, that's not what I want from the new year. I want to have more time for me, more time to be quiet and cozy and spending time at home without having to go out all of the time. So think about how that applies to you. It's definitely an interesting one. Like, there's a real sense of someone doesn't deserve to be in my space, or someone needs to think about their actions, or I just need to put up some walls against people in general, or just particular people. It's really interesting. So group 2, I hope you've enjoyed this reading. I hope you have found it helpful and encouraging. There's definitely things that are going to be difficult to deal with, but I mean, every year has that, and group 1 was certainly had some difficulties too. But it also seems like you're innocent in this situation. You're a hard worker. You're someone who is going to earn respect, someone who's going to earn prestige, someone who deserves to indulge a bit more and not to feel guilty about things. And someone who should ask for help a bit more as well. So think about how you can implement these things, maybe as resolutions or just mantras, things to bear in mind as you go forward into the new year. I hope this was helpful. I hope you've enjoyed it. Have a lovely rest of your day and a wonderful start to 2023. Take care, and I will see you again soon. Bye bye.